The last time I priced a snorkeling trip through my cruise line, the exact same boat, the same 2 hours in the water, and as it turns out, the very same guide, cost almost double what the company was charging on its own website. That was the day I stopped booking shore excursions through the ship, and today I'm going to show you why. And more importantly, how to book on your own without ever risking that famous nightmare of watching your ship sail away without you. And stick around for the last tip, because it's the one almost nobody knows, and once you hear it, you will never look at that shiny excursion brochure the same way again. Now, if we haven't met, I'm Amanda, your cruise companion. I've been on more than 25 sailings across Royal Caribbean, Carnival, MSC, Norwegian, and Costa, and I want to be honest with you right up front. On my first 3 cruises, I booked every single excursion through the ship, every port, every time, because I was nervous and it felt safe. So there's no judgment here. I was you. This is simply what I wish somebody had told me back then, starting with the money, because the money is what got my attention first. Here's the plain truth about pricing. When you book a tour through the cruise line, you're not really buying a tour. You're buying a tour plus a commission, and that commission is not small. Depending on the port and the tour, the ship's price typically runs 30 to 50% higher than what you'd pay booking directly, and on simple tours, it can be close to double. Let me give you a real example from my own statements. A few years ago in Cozumel, the ship offered a beach and snorkel combo for $94.95 per person. The beach club itself, same day, same equipment, same lunch included, was charging $52 if you booked on their site. For my husband and me, that's an $85 difference for one port. On a 7-night Caribbean cruise with 3 or 4 port stops, doing that math in every port is how people quietly leave $300 or $400 on the table without ever feeling it happen. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, Amanda, I'm on vacation. I don't want to research tour operators in 4 different ports. I hear you, and that's honestly why I finally sat down and wrote all of it in one place. The port day playbook, the buffer rule I'll show you in a few minutes, and the exact questions to ask an operator before you pay a single cent, it's all inside the Cruise Verdict Handbook, and the link is right down in the description, with a code on your screen for those of you watching on the television. It's there if it helps, and only if you want it. Now, back to the ship, because the markup is only half of what you're really paying, and the other half is measured in hours. And I get it, part of you is thinking, well, maybe the ship's version is nicer. So let's talk about what you actually get for that extra money, because this is the part that finally pushed me over the edge. Ship excursions are built for volume. When 4,000 people come off a ship and 800 of them booked tours, you are not going anywhere in a cozy little group. You're going on a 45-seat motorcoach. And a 45-seat motorcoach doesn't leave until all 45 seats are counted. And it doesn't leave the ruins or the waterfall or the chocolate factory until all 45 people wander back from the gift shop. I once timed it on a tour in Jamaica. Out of a 6-hour excursion, we spent 2 hours and 10 minutes either sitting on the bus or standing next to the bus, waiting for the same 3 people. When you book a small independent operator, you're usually in a van with 8 or 10 people, you leave when you arrive, and you often see the same sights in half the time with twice the fun. Same island. Very different day. Now let me tell you about my most embarrassing excursion purchase, because I promised you honesty. On my second cruise ever, in Nassau, I paid $109 per person for something called an island beach escape. It sounded exotic. The bus drove for about 12 minutes and dropped us at a public beach. A beach I could have walked to from the ship in half an hour, or taken a $5 taxi to in 10 minutes. The chair and umbrella they gave us rented right there on the sand for $20. So my husband and I paid $218 for a short bus ride and $40 of beach furniture. I still remember standing there doing the math in my head and feeling genuinely foolish. That receipt is the reason this video exists. Quick question for you before we go on, and I'd really love to know. Tell me in the comments which cruise line you sail most. And be honest, have you ever bought a ship excursion and then realized you could have walked there. I read every single one, and the walked there stories are always my favorites. Okay, now let's be fair, because I promised you that too, and there is one genuinely good reason people book through the ship. If a cruise line excursion runs late, the ship waits for you. That's real, it matters, and I would never pretend otherwise. If you're on your own and something goes wrong, getting yourself to the next port is on you, and that can get expensive fast. So the honest question is not whether that guarantee has value, it does. The question is whether you need to pay a 30 to 50% markup in every single port to get it, and the answer is no, because independent cruisers have their own version of that safety net, and it's mostly free. It's called the buffer rule, and this next part is the difference between a relaxed port day and a heart attack on a dock. Here's how I book every independent tour, step by step. First, I find the all-aboard time, which is usually 30 to 60 minutes before the ship actually sails, and I write it down in ship's time, not local time, because the ship doesn't always change its clocks when the island does, and that little detail has stranded more cruisers than any tour ever has. Second, I only book tours that get me back to the dock at least 2 hours before all aboard. Not 1 hour, 2. That's my cushion for a flat tire, a slow lunch, or a taxi that never shows. Third, I look at how far the tour actually goes. If the highlight is 45 minutes from the port, that's fine. If it's 2.5 hours away on winding roads, that tour has to earn its place, because distance is where risk lives. And one small habit that costs nothing. On the morning of every port day, I check the daily program or the app one more time, because all aboard times do occasionally change after you book, and the ship will always trust the paper over your memory. Follow those 3 rules, and you've rebuilt most of the ship's famous guarantee for exactly $0. And this system, buffer and all, saved me over $300 across the ports on my last Caribbean sailing alone. And how do you pick the operator itself? Simple, but be picky. I want a company that's been running tours for years, not months. I want recent reviews, and I specifically read the ones written by cruise passengers, because they'll tell you whether the operator understands ship schedules. I want a clear cancellation policy, and here's a lovely bonus most people don't know. Many independent operators will refund you completely if your ship skips the port or changes its hours, which is more flexible than some cruise lines are with their own tours. And I book directly with the operator whenever I can, on their own website or by email, because that's where the best price lives, and where you can ask real questions, like what time does the tour actually return to the pier? If an operator is vague about the return time, that's my cue to move on. A good one will answer with a number, because their whole business depends on it. One more thing on money. Most good operators only ask for a small deposit online, sometimes 10 or 20%, and you pay the rest on the day. That protected me last spring in Costa Maya, when our ship cut the port day short. The tour I'd booked simply refunded my $20 deposit by that evening, no arguing, no forms. Try getting your afternoon back that easily anywhere else. Now, am I saying never take a ship excursion ever again? Cross my heart? No. And I want to be straight with you about when I still book through the ship, because there are times the markup is worth it. When the port is a tender port, meaning you ride a small boat to shore, ship tour passengers usually get priority on those tenders, and that can save you an hour of standing in line. When the destination is very far away, like taking the train or a long drive to a capital city that's 90 minutes from the pier, I'll pay for the guarantee, because that's a day where a delay would be a disaster. And if you have mobility needs, the ship's tours are vetted for accessibility in a way that's genuinely hard to research on your own. This changes port by port, and honestly, it varies by cruise line too. So decide each port on purpose, instead of clicking book all like I used to. Which brings me to the tip I promised you at the very beginning, the one almost nobody knows, and it's the one that changed how I see that excursion brochure forever. Here it is. The cruise line does not run your excursion. Not the bus, not the boat, not the guide. Cruise lines contract local tour companies in every port. the same established operators that sell to the public, and then they resell those seats to you with the markup built in. That guide on my Cozumel snorkel boat, the one I mentioned at the start, when I got home, I found her company online. Same boat in the photos, same reef, same 2-hour trip, listed at basically half of what the ship charged me. I had paid the cruise line nearly double to introduce me to a company I could have emailed myself. And once you know that, the whole picture changes. Because the choice was never fancy safe ship tour versus risky local tour. Very often, it's the same tour, at 2 different prices, and the only real difference is who took your payment. The ship's brochure is genuinely useful for one thing, and I use it this way on every cruise. It's a free catalog of what's worth seeing in each port. I read it, I note what excites me, and then I go find who actually operates it. So here's the big takeaway, friend. In most ports, booking on your own with a 2-hour buffer gets you the same experience, a smaller group, and real money back in your pocket, while the ship's tours still earn their keep for tender ports, faraway sites, and anyone who needs that extra layer of certainty. If you want the whole system in one place, the Cruise Verdict Handbook is waiting for you down in the description, port questions and all. If keeping a few $100s per cruise sounds like your kind of vacation, subscribe, because that's what we do here every single week. I'm Amanda, your cruise companion, book smart, keep that buffer, and I'll see you on the next one.